What is up, everyone? Today, we're going to be talking about Deiveson Figueiredo and why he deserves the title shot over Umar and why Dana White is ruining his career. So, getting into it, obviously, the most important part of deciding who deserves a title shot is who he has beat and how many people he has beat. So, for Umar, he's beat Corey Sandhagen. That's about it. Begsat is actually, he's not a can, it's an okay win, but short notice debut doesn't really have any meaning, not even a finish. Figueiredo, I get you can't really count, you can't weigh it too much. Like, obviously, Stipe, him being the former, champion, doesn't mean much in today. But Figueiredo, he was the champion in 2022, even 2023, he was the champ, not 2020, and he was the former defending champion at flyweight. And even with that, he has 3 solid wins. He beat Rob Font pretty dominantly, good win. Cody Garbrandt finished him, okay win, nothing too crazy. And Chito Vera, decent win. He has, he has everything to be able to fight for the title. He deserves it. The other reason is he's 36 years old. I know he said he wants to fight like 3-4 more times. He doesn't have that long left. Umar's 27, not even in his prime, which is scary to think about. I believe that Umar deserves a title shot after one more win. One more win. And there's a reason to that, because I know a lot of people are going to be saying, well, Umar, he's good enough to beat all of these guys. He might as well just fight for the title. And they don't understand why that is so unfair. So, for instance, Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall, he beat Volkov. He had a few ranked wins, all finishes within like the first round. Deserved a title shot. Definitely deserved it over Ciryl Gane. But why didn't he fight John Jones that night instead of Ciryl Gane? Well, the reason being, despite, Ciryl Gane coming off of a loss, or I get he got one ranked win before that, but still, the reason being is because Tom Aspinall took a chance and he fought Curtis Blaze the first time, and he lost. And the reason he lost is because he blew out his knee. Even though they rematched about 2 years later, he proved that he was the better fighter, but he just got unlucky. And that's what happens when you're any other fighter, is you have to take risks. You have to fight guys that you're probably better than, but you have the risk of getting, let's say, robbed decision-wise, like Arman got robbed versus Gamrot, even though he was the better fighter. Aspinall getting injured, or other fighters getting injured outside of the octagon, maybe in training camp afterwards, something like that. And then they can't fight for another 8 months. That's the other risk. You also risk just losing, just getting, you may be the better fighter. We don't know. You could be winning the fight and you get Usmaned and you get head kicked. Even though you were the better fighter that night, you lost. So that's why it's quite unfair. Another instance that people will say, Islam Makhachev. I remember people were saying, oh yeah, he's only beat Bobby Green and Dan Hooker, which aren't the worst wins. But he's only beat those guys. No way. I mean, he's obviously going to be the champ. He deserves a title shot. And he's proven that he is the best fighter in the division, outside of maybe Arman. But he's proven that. And I know people say, oh, well, then why are people complaining? He won the belt. He obviously deserved a title shot off of Bobby Green. The reason is because we don't know how those fights would go. He could lose. He could get unlucky and lose. He could get robbed and he could get injured. And guess what? If he got injured, maybe he doesn't fight for the belt for another year. And then he doesn't have as many title defenses. He doesn't have as much money. That's another issue. And I know I'm hating somewhat on Dagestanis right now, but let's take their enemy, Conor McGregor, who got the same privilege. Conor McGregor, when he went for the 155 title to become champ, he fought Eddie Alvarez. And he didn't have to fight any contenders. He didn't even need to defend his featherweight belt. And because of that, people were like, oh, well, he beat Eddie so clearly. It was his best performance. No one was beating him that night. He was always going to be the 155 champion. Would he, though? Would he have beat Khabib? Would he have beat Tony? We don't know, because he didn't have to fight them. We don't know. Another instance, Belal Muhammad. who was so unfairly treated. And I know a lot of people don't like him, but it's just disgusting what the UFC did. Because right now, Belal is 36 years old, almost 37, which for welterweight, that's pretty old. He doesn't have that much longer in his prime. And I get he's probably on steroids, but still he does not have that much left in him, probably. And guess what? He should have had the belt a year ago. He should have fought for the title a year and a half ago. He should have fought before Colby. It should have been Belal versus Leon sometime, maybe summer 2023, fall 2023, sometime around that era, and he probably would have won. And then he could have been on his second title defense, first title defense. We don't know, but because they didn't give him a title shot, we never got to see. And because of that, that hurt his legacy. And he didn't get as much money. I mean, it's ridiculous. Another instance is you could flip it because he beat Sean Brady, right? So for Sean Brady's sake, Sean Brady he's really good. And what if they didn't? I get it's a game of what ifs, but what if Sean Brady didn't fight Belal? And let's say he fought, I don't even know who, like Colby, and beats Colby, and then let's say he beats Leon for the belt. We're like, oh, well, Sean Brady, I mean, he was always going to be champion. He beat everyone. Look how good he did. But he didn't have to fight Belal. I mean, it's a crazy game. But yeah, I just wanted to say why Figgy deserves a title shot outside of just the obvious former champion, a lot better wins, more wins. Outside of that, how it's going to affect his career. And even if he beats Peter Yan, he's going to be, 37 fighting for the belt? It's not a great look. I wouldn't mind if they made Figgy versus Umar at the very least. Or Umar versus Peter Yan and then Figgy versus Merab. That's what they should do. But yeah, I just wanted to say my piece on why it's quite annoying what the UFC is doing and why Umar does not deserve a title shot. Again, I understand why he's taking it. If the UFC offers you a title shot, you take it. Not blaming him, just blaming the UFC and Dana White and Hunter Campbell. But yeah.